Tonight, the terrorist set to be freed in New York City. Authorities say he was plotting to bomb the New York City subway system. A would-be suicide bomber stopped after traveling across the George Washington Bridge with materials to make the bomb. So tonight, why is he set to be freed now? And his attorney is asked, are there any concerns about him getting onto a subway again? As we come on the air tonight, the tornado images coming in right now. Severe weather from Texas all the way up to Ohio, Washington, D.C., then moving into the Northeast. Rob Marciano has the track. Authorities on the scene right now, an entire family discovered dead because of a silent killer. And the warning again, what to watch out for. The cruise ship under quarantine tonight because of measles, about 300 passengers and crew. And now we learn authorities have asked for 100 doses of the measles vaccine. But how soon does it work? And how long does measles stay in the air? Attorney General William Barr, a no-show on Capitol Hill, and tonight House Speaker Nancy Pelosi now accusing him of lying to Congress. The American family on vacation, the father now accused tonight of killing a hotel worker. He says he was defending himself, his own children watching. But the island is now demanding justice. The remarkable images coming in tonight, the driver being saved from her own car, the rescue. And getting answers tonight, are you tired of those robocalls? The new warning in tonight, the major scam, and the one simple step to keep from getting charged.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Thursday night. And we begin tonight with the news that broke here in New York City today. The terrorist set to be freed right here after he plotted to blow up the New York City subway with a suicide bomb. Najibullah Zazi was trained by al-Qaeda. He was caught after crossing the George Washington Bridge. Prosecutors called it one of the most serious threats to the U.S. since 9/11. The FBI finding bomb-making materials at his home in Aurora, Colorado, and in the car he drove over that bridge into New York. He's been in prison now for 10 years, but today a judge said he could now go free. So why now? ABC's Whit Johnson leading us off.
It was the stunning arrest. FBI agents escorting the terrorist off a chopper in shackles. His plot to bomb the New York City subway system was called one of the most serious threats to the U.S. since 9/11.
This attempted attack on our homeland was real. It was in motion, and it would have been deadly.
But tonight, 33-year-old Najibullah Zazi will soon be a free man. A federal judge telling him this once unthinkable second chance has come your way, and you earned it. Zazi traveled to Pakistan in 2008, training with al-Qaeda in weapons and explosives. When he returned to the U.S., he and two friends in Denver hatched the subway plot, planning to build bombs with beauty products. Seen here shopping for supplies. Zazi then driving it all across the country and into New York City over the George Washington Bridge. It was here he learned the FBI was onto him and fled, but they got him. He pleaded guilty, facing life in prison, and then provided what prosecutors today call extraordinary cooperation in America's fight against al-Qaeda, revealing key details of the terrorist group's training, movements, and recruitment methods, meeting with investigators more than 100 times. Prosecutors say he put his own life at risk and deserves a reduced sentence, insisting Zazi has repudiated terrorist ideology. A judge agreed and sentenced him to time served. His lawyer calls that justice.
Mr. Zazi, who I met a long time ago, almost 10 years ago, who was a young man, has changed dramatically. The reality is that the light at the end of the tunnel is extremely bright for him.
All right, so let's get right to Whit Johnson live here in Manhattan tonight. Whit, Zazi could be released within days. His attorney was asked today if he has any concerns about his client getting on a subway in New York City again.
David, that's right. That attorney saying he has no concerns because his client has been, quote, transformed. In a letter to the judge, Zazi himself apologized for his horrible choices. He now calls America a beacon of light for those with hope. He will be on supervised release for the rest of his life. David.
Whit Johnson leading us off tonight with thank you. The other major headline we're following right now, tornadoes touching down, new images coming in tonight. This is from Des Arc, Arkansas this evening, and this tornado in Seymour, Texas. One of at least 50 reported tornadoes in this devastating system. As we're on the air right now, we're tracking the radar at this hour, showing the immediate trouble spots right there. But this stretches from Texas all the way up to the northeast tonight. ABC's Alex Perez in the storm zone.
Tonight, tornado sirens sounding in Arkansas. The system that's already spawned at least 4 dozen reported twisters in 5 states, now spreading out and moving east. The storms fired up fast. This reported tornado spotted in Little Rock. Roofs ripped off, multiple tractor trailers overturned.
Folks, it takes a lot of winds to knock over a truck like that, 70, 80 mile per hour winds at the very least.
Workers nearby bracing for impact.
We went trying to pull the doors down. We couldn't even get them down because the wind was blowing so hard.
Tearing trees from the ground, damaging a nearby cemetery. Flooding rains in the Chicago suburbs, streets submerged after as much as 6 inches of rain here. The east branch of the DuPage River cresting above 21 feet.
And David, you can see just how high the DuPage River is here. Take a look. You can see how close the water is to that bridge right there. Most of these swollen rivers are expected to remain above flood stage through the weekend. David?
Alex Perez, thank you. Let's get right to Rob tracking it all again tonight for us. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. 6 reported tornadoes tonight, but there are several pockets of strong storms across the country. Look at the radar scope. Florida, you're in it. D.C., you got rocked earlier. 63 mile per hour wind reported in Maryland. That stationary boundary slicing through the Great Lakes across the Mississippi, where our tornado watch has been extended now to include Kentucky and Tennessee until 10 o'clock tonight. And then Texas, you just can't catch a break. More storms rumbling across the hill country there. Severe thunderstorm watch up tonight and again tomorrow. Austin, San Antonio, you're back in it again. A pattern, David, that we really just can't shake.
Can't escape it.
David?
All right, Rob, thank you. Next tonight to the drama on Capitol Hill. Attorney General William Barr, a no-show at a hearing before the House Judiciary Committee. A chair there remained empty. He refused to show up on Capitol Hill for day 2 of questioning on the Mueller report. And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi with strong words about what happened yesterday, accusing Barr of lying to Congress. And this question tonight, will Robert Mueller testify before the American people about his own findings? Here's ABC's Mary Bruce on the Hill.
The Speaker of the House today came before cameras and called the Attorney General a liar.
The Attorney General of the United States of America was not telling the truth to the Congress of the United States. That's a crime.
She's talking about this moment from April. Barr asked whether he knew Robert Mueller's team was unhappy with his summary of their report.
Members of the special counsel's team are frustrated at some level with the limited information included in your March 24th letter, that it does not adequately or accurately necessarily portray the report's findings. Do you know what they're referencing with that?
No, I don't.
What Barr did know then but did not reveal was that Mueller himself had expressed those same complaints to Barr in an extraordinary letter. On Capitol Hill yesterday, Democrats furious.
Why did you say you were not aware of concerns?
Well, I answered a question. I talked directly to Bob Mueller, not members of
responsible and false. Today, Barr was a no-show for his scheduled testimony before the House Judiciary Committee. Democrats wanted him to take questions from committee attorneys, and he objected. In his place today, an empty chair.
We saw that empty chair. Mary Bruce live up on the Hill tonight, and Mary, House Democrats could decide to subpoena the Attorney General, as you've reported. They've not made that decision yet. They're going to give it a few more days, they said. In the meantime, you're also learning tonight the House Judiciary Committee has now reached out to Robert Mueller.
Well, David, a source tells us that the Judiciary Committee has now made contact with Mueller's team about a possible hearing later this month. We know they're eyeing May 15th, but tonight the negotiations still continue. David.
Mary Bruce with us again tonight. Thank you as always, Mary. We learned late today of a grim discovery at an Ohio home. A family of 4 found dead, victims of a silent killer. Elevated levels of carbon monoxide found inside that home, and tonight a renewed warning right here. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, tragedy in Ohio. A family of 4 found dead inside their home. First responders finding elevated levels of carbon monoxide. Officials say a concerned relative called 911 for a well-being check this afternoon. By the time paramedics arrived at the home just north of Columbus, it was too late.
We're going to miss them. They're just wonderful neighbors. We just never had neighbors like that at all. Just they're just wonderful kids. That's all I can say.
Every year, according to the CDC, more than 400 people are killed because of carbon monoxide poisoning. It's a colorless and odorless gas, sometimes called the silent killer. Authorities tonight now investigating and looking for the possible source of what killed this family. And David, this is yet another reminder that you have to have a carbon monoxide detector on every floor of your house. If it says any other number other than 0, you got to get outside and call 911. David.
Really important reminder, Gio. Thank you. And we do have new reporting tonight on that cruise ship. About 300 passengers and crew trapped amid a measles emergency on board. The Free Winds is under quarantine and stuck in port in St. Lucia after a case was diagnosed on board. The ship's doctor asking for 100 doses of the vaccine, but how quickly does it work? ABC's Victor Akendo is at the Port of Miami tonight.
Tonight, a reported 300 passengers and crew remain under quarantine on the Free Winds cruise ship on the Caribbean island of St. Lucia.
The confirmed case, as well as other crew members, are presently stable, but remain under surveillance by the ship's doctor.
That doctor requesting 100 doses of the measles vaccine, which can give some protection if given within 3 days of exposure.
We'll take you aboard the Free Winds, the Church of Scientology's religious retreat and humanitarian ship.
The Free Winds, shown here in a promotional video, is reportedly owned by the Church of Scientology and used for religious retreats and advanced spiritual counseling. The CDC is already tracking the worst measles spike in the U.S. in decades, more than 700 cases across 22 states. The outbreak mostly hitting people who are unvaccinated.
It can actually stay in the air for up to 2 hours, and if you walk into a room where somebody had previously had measles, it is possible to get infected.
And Victor Akendo with us live again tonight. Victor, you mentioned there the ship doctor has asked for 100 doses of the measles vaccine, but that it needed to be given quickly. How long could the quarantine itself last?
Well, David, timing is key here. The sooner you take the vaccine after exposure, the more effective it is. There's also usually a 10 to 12-day surveillance period. Police at that port tell us the ship could pull out soon. It's based on the island of Curacao, but the question is, which country will let it dock before everyone on board has been given the all clear? David?
That's a big question, Victor. Thank you. One of President Trump's potential nominees is bowing out tonight. Conservative commentator Stephen Muir is now withdrawing his name from consideration for the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Muir is a longtime supporter of President Trump's, but his record of inflammatory writing, especially about women, had some Republican senators warning he would not be confirmed. Another of the president's Fed picks, Herman Cain, withdrew from consideration last month. And the mayor of Baltimore tonight has resigned under pressure. Catherine Pugh was under investigation for a children's book she wrote and then sold to companies with business before the city. Last week, FBI and IRS agents raided her City Hall office and her home. We turn next tonight to an American family's vacation at a Caribbean resort that family says turned into a fight for survival. The Connecticut father says a hotel worker tried to rob them, that father then fighting back. Tonight, they've released a photo of that father's injuries. The island now wants justice, though. That hotel worker later died, and the father's now fighting a manslaughter charge. Here's ABC's Lindsay Davis now.
Tonight, that American banker accused of killing a hotel maintenance man while vacationing in the Caribbean, releasing this photo saying he was literally fighting for his life. 44-year-old Scott Hapgood was with his wife and 2 young daughters last month in a 5-star hotel in Anguilla when he claims 27-year-old Kenny Miles Mitchell came into his room armed and demanding money. Hapgood was charged with manslaughter. He posted $74,000 bail and then boarded a private jet. A local paper posting the moment on Facebook. He flew back home to Connecticut, leaving behind a firestorm on the small island where many residents are outraged and doubt his account. Now the Hapgood family is releasing a statement saying Mitchell was wearing a hotel uniform April 13th when he knocked on the door saying he was there to fix a broken sink. They claimed they hadn't called for maintenance and that the sink wasn't broken, but that upon entering the room, an attack ensued in which they say Scott sustained severe injuries. They say his 2 daughters were in the room at the time and that Hapgood did what any parent would have done. Hapgood is expected to return to the island for a hearing in late August. Local police have been pushing back against some heavy criticism of their handling of the case. They released a statement saying the matter is before a competent court and the law should be allowed to take its course without interference. David.
Lindsay Davis with us tonight. Thank you, Lindsay. We turn now to an emotional homecoming for one of the victims of the shooting at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. The The body of 21-year-old Riley Howell, who was killed after jumping onto the gunman to save others, was escorted today to Waynesville, North Carolina. The roads lined with people paying tribute. Thousands of students and faculty honored Riley and the other student who was killed, 19-year-old Ellis Reed Parlier, at a campus vigil last night. There was